Hey guys, welcome to Draw My Story. And today we're drawing the story of Highway Worm. Yes, the huge-sized worm. It's also known as leather worm or giant worm. It's one of the dangerous monsters created by artist Trevor Henderson. By appearance, highway worms are very large worm-like creatures. It has two eyes, like human eyes, and also has a human-like mouth. It's approximately 18 to 20 feet long. Its body is very bumpy throughout its length. It's kind of uneven, exactly like worms. The body color of the highway worm is kind of dark yellow and gray mixed. And its body texture looks like some sort of leather-like texture and dirty. The highway worm eyes always glows at night. It's really scary to look at. It's also said that highway worm has a very nocturnal vision, especially during nighttime, which helps it to catch its victims even in the dark. This creature is always seen at night. You can never see a highway worm before sunset or after dawn. It's a very dangerous predator out there. Even though its whole body looks like a worm-like structure, but its back end has a snake-like tail. So what exactly is a highway worm? Where does it live? And what's its purpose? I'm going to cover all this in today's video, so keep watching. Highway worms are known to live in Florida. Apart from Florida, they're also known to be found in small cities in Europe and Tokyo. So the first news about the existence of the highway worm came back in 2015. And since then, everyone is aware about highway worm now, that they exist. But the strange thing is, its origin is not clear. Nobody knows from where it just popped all of a sudden. A theory suggests that maybe highway worm is some human experiment and it just escaped from a lab. But who knows what the truth is behind that? Because humans can replicate any living organism inside a lab, so it's not surprising enough if highway worm is also a human discovery. However, few theories also point out its connection to Bridgeworm, because of the very similar resemblance between bridgeworm and highway worm. And that's pretty obvious because of the way they look. There's not much difference between bridgeworm and highway worm. Bridgeworm is almost the same length as highway worm. And their facial structure is also quite similar with their worm-like appearance. And that's why it's believed that maybe highway worm is an adult bridgeworm. But I kind of personally don't support this theory much, because even if they are almost similar by look, there are still differences. For example, there's a difference in the place where they're found. When bridgeworm usually lives under long bridges and waits for its prey to come, highway worm is normally found in highways, hiding inside big bushes, and attacks the prey. And bridgeworm has two faces. One innocent fake face, which it always keeps on to lure its victims, and the other scary real face, which it always hides inside. But we don't have any such known characteristics for highway worm. So far, highway worm is known to have only one face. So, considering all these differences, I don't think bridgeworm and highway worm would be connected in any way. So, coming to the highway worm, as its name suggests, it's mostly found in highways. It would be hiding in highway in places like where no one can see it. Maybe it'd be behind bushes, or behind signposts, or some huge trees. It would always be out of view and curled up. It would wait there for its victims to pass. It mainly attacks its victims by lunging out on the moving vehicle on the road. So when the car passes through a highway, the highway worm would be waiting there, hiding inside bushes, and then suddenly lunge out to catch the car. Then it breaks the car windshield and scares the driver to death. After that, it takes the driver out of the car and then goes back to its hiding place to enjoy its meal. But it has to do that in right time. Otherwise, it would be miss. And if at all it misses its victim, it would end up being on the road. So there are chances that it can get run over by big, heavy vehicles. So the first sighting of highway worm is a similar incident like this, where the victim of the highway worm somehow was able to escape and told the world about this giant worm. So it was in one summer night when one guy was driving through the highway from his office to home. It was his everyday route, and mostly it will be too late when he comes back home. However, he's not the only one who crosses the highway daily. There are many whose usual route is that. But little did he know what was about to happen in his life that day. As usual, he started from the office, heading back to home, and was passing through the highway. All of a sudden, he realized a sudden jolt and his car window was broken. Then, what he saw, he could not believe his eyes. A giant worm-like creature trying to enter his car. However, somehow he drove as fast as he can and escaped from getting killed. He was admitted in the hospital for a few weeks. After that, the officials took his statement and learned the first time about highway worm. But they dismissed his theory as because he could not produce any proof of it. Later, many more incidents like this happened, and finally they had to admit highway worm exists. But they're still figuring out a way to catch it. Apart from humans, highway worms feed on large rodents and deer who crosses the highway at night. Before consuming its prey, the highway worm will often shake it until they're in a state of complete shock or dead. Then it will consume them. Highway worms are also found in places where there's no highway at all. In such cases, they hide in places where no one can see them and eat anything it gets into its mouth. The only thing highway worm is very scared of is the large trucks, because while lunging, it might get run over by the truck if it doesn't lunge high enough. Hence, highway worm is always scared of trucks. And that was today's story, guys, about the highway worm. Comment and let me know how'd you like it. And please subscribe to my channel, guys, if you want to see more Draw My Story horror videos like this one. Till then, bye.